What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today is a phenomenal day. We got this core CPI yesterday. We got the FOMC minutes yesterday. Had digestion, and we broke out. We broke out of the wedge finally. It was looking like we could have gone to the downside, but this whole area down here, there was a lot of buyers down here. So that was very interesting to see. You could definitely tell that buyers were not going to allow it to get past this, that essentially that 4,300 mark at all. And even yesterday, this half attempt, it was bought up very quickly and would not budge, even after the break from the downside. So this massive break up today was very good to see. Banks are doing very well. Now they were starting to get some of the earnings out. Things are looking good. It's not saying we're completely out of the clear, but we are definitely in good shape. And I think, at least for earnings, right? Because you still have to keep in mind that the FOMC mini has been pushed until the 15th of November. So we have a month from now that covers us through earnings. So I can see us doing quite well through the earnings. And then towards that part, when we start getting back again towards the debt ceiling discussion and also the tapering and what is going on with that. We'll see volatility around there, but I think right now we're pretty much in the clear. Now it's coming down to earnings. What is going to happen from this point? We do have a lot of overseas CPI data coming out between late tonight and tomorrow. But aside from that, I think there's nothing major that is going to really impact the markets, especially now that Biden also talked about our ports going 24/7 now. So that kind of alleviates a lot of the supply issues and stuff that we're having. So things are looking good when it comes to the markets. Yes, inflation is going to be a discussion we're going to have for quite a while. Again, we have to see if this port 24/7 helps alleviate some of the supply issue, that we could see a decline in some of the inflation. We have to see. It's not going to be immediate, right? It's going to take some while. And Kathy Wood and a lot of other people have talked about this as well, is the fact that it's come down, right? Like inflation, we're seeing the rotation of inflation in different arenas, essentially what's going on. And because of the pandemic, people have been buying in a panic during the pandemic. And then now they're trying to get all the supply that they were asking for months ago. And then now they have nothing to do with this, or now they're going to have too much supply from this point. So we're starting to slowly see that we're still on the cusp of a lot of things. A lot of things are still trying to get worked out. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's grinding. That's what we've seen this on inflation. Are we going to crash? Yes, the market's always going to crash. It's something we've always heard many, many times. But if you look over the years, it's very rare we actually crash. We had a huge crash last year. To have another one this year or even next year is just absurd, right? A lot of these stuff is after a major crash, there's things that are put into place to help alleviate some of these things that have caused the crash. So to see housing or to see any of these other aspects come into play, they're going to tank the market. I don't see that this year or even next year. I'm starting to even wonder how much of a correction we're going to have. I think we'll have, to be honest, I think we'll have some sort of normal correction next year, early next year. From now till then, I don't think so. Again, this is a thesis. I always say you should have some sort of thesis when going into the market, but pre-market is important because you need to actually look at the chart and understand what's going on in the market, not just guess. That's why I do believe technicals and fundamentals are good for this and I believe make the best traders, because of the fact that what is going on in the economy, in the world, and you also can look at a chart and see where your supply and demand zones are. Patterns, not so much, because news can override patterns, and that happens all the time. This is why a lot of people that play patterns have been very frustrated over the past couple months, because patterns aren't playing out. and they break and they just sell off because of news of inflation or something like that. So you have to be mindful of that. So that's why I do like the fundamental side of it, because it does help. It helps alleviate you taking positions if you know that there's going to be a Fed meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Not saying that there is. I'm just saying, for example, if there's a meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay, well, I'm not going to put a position on or put myself at risk because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to wait until there's digestion in the market, then take a position. This is a good way to come and approach the market. It really helps you become a better trader, and something that has really helped me throughout my trading career. So SPX, as you all know, if you haven't followed me or don't, and this is your first time, consider subscribing. But nonetheless, what I want to look at here every Friday, I don't really have a watch list because I don't want to hold too much over the weekend. I'm holding a couple different positions. I got one in Tesla for next week's earnings, one in Shop, Facebook, and I got a couple other smaller positions. If you want to see all my positions, you can essentially go on to follow me at Beta Memoirs on Twitter. There, I do discuss a lot of the positions I hold and stuff overnight. Good majority of the time, I try to be good about that, about putting my positions on there, in what positions I'm looking at throughout the day. So that kind of helps you. I do put a morning call on there as well to kind of give you my insight before the bell. So tomorrow, again, massive, nice run today. Very bullish. We're starting to break out of a lot of things. We did start to pull back towards the end of the day a little bit. It was normal pullback, nothing scary. I think tomorrow we might get a little bit of a dip overnight because we went straight up today, but it's not concerning to me. I expect the pullback a little bit tonight and then possibly run. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we kind of went flat overnight and then pull back a little bit tomorrow and then ran into the weekend, going into big earnings next week because we got Netflix and Snap next week along with a bunch of other earnings. And then Tesla as well. Tesla's next week on Wednesday. So Tesla, very strong. This thing is not selling, although it's not the Tesla of old. It's been grinding up very slow. It's very painful. There's a lot of wicks all the way up. So, but it is grinding up. Apple, a lot of these are looking great on the daily too. This is one thing to keep in mind. A lot of these are starting to break out. It broke out of that. It looks like it's another break here and pop. It does need to get it over this 145 though. But you look something at like Google. Google had another wedge break and pop today. Facebook has had a lot of bad news. It's the only thing that's been holding it down with the whistleblower and everything. So it's been destroys earnings, but whistleblower stuff is definitely wreaking havoc. And then there's some new policies I think that they're trying to push out for social medias. So, but another wedge break here looks good. And you look at Microsoft, had a wedge break today, pop. Square's been pretty choppy lately. See some other ones. Amazon is, I think, another good one. This one has a couple of wedges here. This one has a lot of resistance to get through, but another wedge break. This is going to be a slow grind. Once it gets back above here, you're looking at the 33.70 mark. If you can get back to that point, it'd be pretty, definitely won't be as much resistance. I wouldn't be surprised if this actually gaps up over some of the stuff to get to where it needs to go. Shop actually looks great. Another perfect wedge break here. There's a couple of these here. SC I played once today. It's a wedge break yesterday, a retest. This could look for this tomorrow too. This could go back to all-time highs, retest all-time highs, hopefully break out by then. SC I do really like. I did play that today. The banks are looking solid. We do want this to break back over. This is one thing I don't like is typically anytime you see the 20 and 15, this is something I always typically do. I always watch for is anytime you get a break at the 20, it's just going to test the 50, retest the 20 before it goes in the opposite direction again. So I want to make sure the banks hold. That could not be the case. It might actually pop back over the 20 and start running, but something to definitely be mindful over because majority of the time it does follow that pattern. It tests 50 or hits the 50, retests the 20, and then continues to sell off, or it does the opposite. If it's another wedge break here. We saw this on AMD too. AMD had a nice wedge break too. I haven't really been playing the chips lately, but Nice little wedge break here as well. AMD, same thing, second day continuation. I called this out 2 days ago, or yesterday actually, before the pop. I did not take that position. No, I played a couple other different positions. Coin was one I called out yesterday. Had this, got a position last night. Actually sold this today. Had a nice gap and push today. The reason I sold ultimately is because Bitcoin is still struggling. I think Bitcoin will make a move over the weekend. So what I'm looking for this actually is a pullback tomorrow. If I do get a nice pullback on coin tomorrow, I'll look to try to buy again because it seems Bitcoin likes to make bigger moves like come Friday evening into Saturday. If that's the case and it does break 60K, I think once it breaks 60K that it could really start moving. From that point, I'd like to be in coin, but I didn't want to hold for another pullback. But look for a different position, new contracts on that one. So I did get in the money after this move today. Let's see, BYND. It's another wedge break here, wedge break and retest. AMC is another big one if you like playing the MEMS. It have a break today and it's trying to get back above. So that this can break above 4140, I think we got some room to run here from that point. At that 46 mark, 47 mark possible. But then you have this other trend line coming from the daily here. Then you got CMG, you got another wedge break here. You got Clove, another wedge break retest. A lot of the MEMS moved today. A lot of the MEMS were pumped and dumped today. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know if that's a telling sign of something to come here pretty soon, but definitely keep an eye on that. Overstock, I'm really watching this one. I want to see if it breaks this wedge and actually starts running. You want to keep on watch as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't want to make this video too long. I did make the video yesterday pretty long as well. And this one is getting very long. But I just wanted to kind of give insight on everything. I think we are good. I think the bulls are starting to come in now. I'm not bearish at all on the markets. Again, any kind of sentiment to the downside, I think there's no new news. And typically the market isn't going to make a move until it knows. The move it was waiting for was inflation and what the Fed was going to do. And now that we got the notes, we got insight in how much they're going to start tapering and what exactly their plan is from the notes. And then now we don't got another meeting for another month. We're kind of in the clear now, unless, again, something random comes out, which is a possibility. We've gotten random news or weekly updates that I've done where I said we should be in the clear, and then something comes up Monday pre-market, and then the rest of the week is just shorting pumps at that point. So it just really depends how the market is and what is going on. So just be mindful, manage risk. And till next time, guys, I'll talk to you later.